I think that issue brings a lot of people together. All the various political factions will come together, and right now it looks like probably about 70% of the country is now looking for a different policy, especially in the Middle East, and readjust that. On economic policy, it is something that if you ask almost 100% of the Americans whether they believe in the free enterprise system, you know what? Most Americans believe in the free enterprise system. Too often, what happens is, yes, I believe in free enterprise for myself, but for everybody else, but I like special privileges for myself. So, but to really believe in free enterprise, you have to believe in market competition for everybody, and nobody gets subsidies. A lot of times they think subsidies and welfare goes to poor people. Yeah, there's some welfare that goes to poor people, but sometimes I think they're crumbs. The real big welfare in the system that we have goes to the military-industrial complex and the big banks. That's where it goes. But the market economy should bring people together, especially when it's realized that the system that we have today is ripping off the middle class and the poor. They're the ones who suffer from the inflation and the regulations and all the government interference. So that, to me, is an issue that brings people together. One person once told me not too long ago, I think it was said on television, they said, well, you ought to run as a Democrat. And I said, well, why should I run as a Democrat? I'm the most conservative member of the Congress. I said, So they get twisted up. They don't know how to label those of us who believe in liberty, because liberty is really pervasive. It's beneficial to everybody. It's not beneficial to special groups. So if you can vote for less money. Now there's some very well-known liberal individuals in this country who are coming out and supporting our campaign, which is very interesting. You would say, well, liberals don't they like big spending and all. But why would they be coming out and endorsing our campaign now? Quite frankly, because of foreign policy and attacking special interests for the rich and the benefits. So this is a tremendously powerful message. And there's another element that should bring people together, and that is the concept of personal individual liberty. Personal liberty is not a special interest. It's the only interest that really counts. See, I don't like to think of rights being group rights. Not to offend anybody, but I don't see things like women's rights and minority rights and all this. I just don't think that's possible. Rights are given to individuals. I personally have a belief they come from our Creator. And which means then that your life is your own, and you have your own responsibility. I mean, you have your responsibility of what's going to happen for eternity's sake, so you ought to have a responsibility of what you're going to do here on earth as well. But personal liberty means tolerance as well, because what your neighbor might do might be different than what you do. And you might not like what they do, but if your neighbor or your friends, they do things that you don't approve of, but they don't affect you, if they don't hurt you, if they don't use force on you, they should be permitted to do this. Your job is to take responsibility, and our job is to take the responsibility for ourselves to improve our well-being and improve and work for excellence, and that's what freedom is all about. But which group of people should this bring together? You know, if I say, well, I don't want to regulate your personal life. And you say, does that mean I don't want to tell you what you can eat, smoke, and drink, and whatever you want to do? Yeah, that's true. Now the question is this going to offend conservative Christian right? And it should not. And it's something that I've worked on for many, many years in the congressional district, is to believe in individual liberty, not put on sanctions, and not pretend I can regulate your personal moral life and have that appeal to the Christian right. I happen to believe all life is sacred, so therefore I don't believe that small little fetuses can be dropped away without, concern about it. But this idea of personal liberty, which might allow individuals to do things that others might not approve of, it is also exactly the liberty that we need to practice our religion and keep the government off our backs on that. Back to the concern about, the idea of running for the president and presidency. This means that today the conventional wisdom is, well, we have to have a president to run things. How are you going to run things? What I'd like to be is a president that doesn't even have a goal of running your life, running the economy, or running the world. I want to use all my strength and my conviction and my effort to restrain anybody who uses force illegally, that people not be allowed to try to run other people's lives. And that will take a lot of doing because a lot of people have become dependent on the government. Another issue that I deal with, and now this is in the real world politics, because we might in a group like this agree, we don't need the welfare and we don't need this, leave us alone, and it would all be better, and quite frankly, I think it would be. But we live in the real world where we have taught generations after generations to be totally dependent on the government. So realistically, you can't just shut off every government health program and whatever for the elderly. But there is a very practical answer for this. Overseas now, to run the American empire, if you add up the DOD budget, if you add up the State Department budget, if you add up what it would cost to run the military and take care of the veterans and on and on, do you know that it's nearing $1 trillion a year to operate overseas while ignoring our borders? So why not we do this? If it's at $1 trillion, let's say that we could have a true national defense for, say, $700 billion, save 700, spend 300 on defense, save 700, put a lot of that to the deficit, bring it home, deal with our borders, and make sure the people that are very dependent take care of them until we can wean them off.